Okay, we have a question from my buddy Michael. Welcome to Bard College, by the way. My buddy Michael, who is not a performer, asks, what makes for a good performer? And that's a great question. I have 3 keys and I'll give you 3 action steps. The key number 1 is to be passionate, and this is important. It sounds simple, but it really does come through. It comes through in the way you talk, in the way you act, in the way you do anything. And if you don't have passion, you won't be invested, which means that your audience won't be invested. So passion really is where everything starts. If you're not passionate, do what I did, or at least I suggest one way of doing it is to do what I did, which is stop doing what you're not passionate. I wasn't passionate about performing magic or mentalism, so I stopped and I moved straight into key number 2, which is diversify your interests. Meaning, study new fields which you believe are uninterconnected and search for actionable principles that you can apply to your field. So I studied cognitive psychology, social psychology, method acting, non-method acting, behavioral economics, social dynamics, design technology, whatever. Go into uninterconnected fields and look for the principles and little things that you can take from there and apply to yourself. If you want a book recommendation, which will be easy for you if you're a performer, whether a musician or a stand-up comedian or a magician or a mentalist or whatever, I suggest Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. There's a car. Let's let it pass. Good. Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, which will teach you a lot about human beings and how we think and how our judgment is often flawed. That's a 700-page book, so if you want a shorter version, The Undoing Project by Michael Lewis. And the second book is for yourself, and that is called Outwitting the Devil, which I will explain in 25 seconds. My favorite book of all time. Okay. Napoleon Hill wrote the best-selling success and personal development book of all time called Think and Grow Rich. You may have heard about it. So he sold hundreds of millions of copies. A year after Think and Grow Rich came out, which I believe was 1936, he began doing something a little weird. In Think and Grow Rich, he detailed a technique he used called the invisible counselor's technique, in which he essentially spoke to himself and had conversations in his mind with people that he respected and wanted to learn from, such as Benjamin Franklin, my personal favorite, Jesus Christ, not that one, Abe Lincoln, many individuals dead or alive that he wanted to take information from and learn from. And you would get some really interesting information out of it. Outwitting the Devil is him doing that with the devil. And he wrote his exact interview, word for word of it, down in the book. And the information found within, whether you believe in that or not, is incredible. So, Outwitting the Devil and Thinking Fast and Slow. The third key to becoming an exceptional performer is scratch your own itch. And this is a really important one. I really believe in this one. Scratch your own itch is the difference between doing something for yourself and for others. And you must perform for yourself first. If not, you'll never be passionate, or your passion will run out. How do you scratch your own itch? Well, identify what you dislike and attack it. Example, I'm an actor. If you follow the newsletter, you'll know that. And honest confession here, I don't like theater that much. I'm not a big fan of watching theater. For some reason, there's just something about it that I can't connect to, watching theater. So, what I did was I attacked theater. I studied method and non-method acting, a couple of different methods, specifically for theater more than film, especially because I disliked it. But before I did that, I identified, this is important, I identified what I disliked and focused on that. So in theater, there was something about the voice, something about the vocal tonality and the undertone that I just didn't like. It was just consistent. So I studied naturalistic acting and method and non-method acting, and I looked at everything I saw and I tried to identify what it was in the voice that I disliked and try to understand how to repair that, or at least for myself. So scratch your own itch. In magic, you may do the same. If you dislike card magic, go towards card magic. Pick out some of the principles you enjoy and attack what you dislike and make it work for you. So those are your 3 things. Number 1, be passionate. If you must, leave the art. It's a worthy time investment and it will be better in the long run. Number 2, diversify your interests. Remember the 2 book recommendations. Thinking Fast and Slow, Outwitting the Devil. Number 3, scratch your own itch. This is a really important one. Identify what you dislike and attack it. Michael, I hope that answers your question. I gave you a lot of information there, and yeah, until next week.